Yesterday, I heard that Paul Thomas had passed away. Apparently, he suffered a big heart attack, and that was the end. That's pretty much all I know about how he passed. But I do know a little bit about Paul in his life and in his career. For those of you that don't know, he was an actor first and then a director, an award-winning director for the kind of movies that I used to make. Now, he got his start, like I said, in acting, and he did act in many films, but originally he was acting in productions of musicals. Musical theater. And that's where I got my start. So we kind of bonded on that. When I first met Paul, it was on the set of Let's Get Physical, and he played my husband. Now, Paul was prone to breaking out into song occasionally on the set, and that's something that people who have a musical theater background are often prone to do. That's something I have done many times myself. So when he would break into song, little renditions of West Side Story or what have you, I would answer him, and we would end up singing these little miniature duets, which was kind of fun, you know, when you're in the makeup artist chair or waiting as they light the set or something. It's a nice distraction. And I got along well with Paul. I think we did a really good job in Let's Get Physical and portrayed the romance that a husband and wife would have. It was good to work with him. As time progressed, he got out of working in front of the camera and started directing films. And that's where I started to work with him again when he was directing for Vivid Video. And I was under contract with Vivid Video for many years. As often happens, people change over their life and over the years, and Paul definitely changed. And we had a very big falling out. I have a video about that, and I'll show it at the end of this video if you would like to hear more of that sordid story. It'll tell about the falling out that we had. Unfortunately, we never really made amends. We did do a talk show at one point in time, just a little podcast thing. I'm sorry I can't remember the name of it, but in this podcast, we talked about what had happened, and he admitted that he had been doing drugs at the time, and what I had said was probably true. But he never apologized for it. And the whole thing, I have to thank him on one note. I really have to thank him, because that falling out led to me getting out of the business. I mean, that was it. After I had the falling out with him, I had made my decision by the next day or two that I was done with that industry. And 3 days after our falling out, I had decided I was done with my husband, and I divorced him. So I have to thank him for being the catalyst that led to a big change in my life that was really a positive thing in the long run. I think I was much better off as a result, having left that business and having left my husband at the time. But it did cause a lot of problems for myself and my children, because the financial ramifications of being single and not really having a steady job at that point, and coming from the industry I came from, it was really hard to get a job in a legitimate field. Everybody told me that they were afraid to hire me because it would appear as though they were endorsing my past. So it's really hard when society says, you shouldn't do that, you should get out of that business. And then you make an effort to do so, and they say, oh, but we can't hire you. That would look like we were endorsing what you had done in the past. Well, you're kind of telling me I have no choice but to go back. Of course, I never did, but it really pins people into a box. And I can see why so many actors and actresses, particularly in my business, have decided that, well, my life is over. I guess I have nothing more to live for if I can't get a job anywhere and everyone has shunned me for my decisions in the past. They're kind of painted into a corner. So my heart goes out to them. But yeah, Paul Thomas was very much responsible for decades of heartache and pain and suffering for not just myself, but my two young children as a result of his actions. Nevertheless, we did have good times in the beginning before he changed and got involved with illegal substances and whatnot. But I have to say, rest in peace, Paul Thomas, and thank you for being the major impetus that made me leave that business and leave my abusive husband.